Hello and welcome back to the TF Cast. This is January 19th.
Today with us, we have Miss Avocado and Wanda Gog drag me with a spoon to talk with us about their upcoming events and all things drag. Introduce yourselves. Tell us everything.
Well, I'm Miss Avocado.
And I'm Wanda Gag.
We're your favorite live-in gal pals from Mankato, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we
run Drag Me with a Spoon.
we've been doing shows around the area for about
It's only been about a year, but oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it's been a crazy year. We've been doing a lot of shows.
Mhm.
And Mankato seems up to it. So
It's been an explosion of drag. I've seen more drag in Mankato in this last year than I have in the last decade, I think.
It's been a lot of fun.
yeah, no, we noticed that there was not a drag scene at all really here. I think the university has a show every semester, and that was about it. So I brought it upon myself to make some shows here because if there's one thing that drag queens are not, it's planners. So
It's true.
they can barely make it to the gig on time. So we're making the shows happen.
Right on. And you said you've just been doing it for about a year now?
Yeah,
Is that
we
so?
started mid-pandemic. It was August of 2020, and we approached Loose Moose and Metlers, and they were super into it. And I was like, a show at a strip club, I'll do that.
They got
sounds
the
fun.
space for it.
Yeah, the stage was good, the lights were
Yeah.
good, and we had our first show there in the middle of a pandemic. Still a good, I think 100 people. Their capacity was 200, so we were at 50%, and I mean, tickets sold out in 2 days. So
Awesome.
it was a big success.
I haven't seen, I saw a little bit at the university, I think, but I haven't really seen much around until I started seeing y'all's events. So yeah, shout out to that. It's really
Thank
cool
you.
that you've brought it here and are, making it happen.
Yeah.
What, go for it.
I was like, how's it been received? Like, I feel like there's been, from the ones that I've been to, that there's been a lot of enthusiasm for it. But do you feel like as if the community is hungry for more, or
We've definitely been gauging kind of what the community is able to put up with. Most shows sell out for the most part. I think there's been like one or two that was like almost sold out, and there was one that was like kind of, but like otherwise, I've noticed people will come to like one show a month, but there's enough people that like they'll see a show that 1 month, and then a different group of people will see it the next month. So at this point, we're like, okay, one a month, maybe two if we're feeling crazy. So
Wanda had the good sense to put a survey after every show. So we straight up asked people, how often would you come to a show if we were to put one on? And they're like, every month or so. And so we've been trying to keep it to that, just not overstaying our welcome and keeping people excited about it. It's kind of the hope.
And how many queens are you working with?
So it depends on the venue. Usually we try to have a cast of 6 to 8 queens. Oh, pardon me.
Ladylike.
But right now the Mankato scene, which is slowly growing, consists of about 6 queens right now. We've got 2 that have lived here and have been performing for a long time.
Longer than us, the Rose Sisters.
Yeah. They've been here for a while, but show planning is not for everyone. It is exhausting and it takes a lot of work. And so I don't blame them for never getting to that. Otherwise, we've got one that just moved here for college, and actually she reached out as soon as she was moving here. She's like, I'm going to be starting college there. Is there a drag scene? I'd love to perform. And so
And we were like, where at?
that's us.
Yeah.
So it's slowly growing. We've got some other people that are interested in performing soon. They've been reaching out, and to just kind of create and cultivate the scene has been so exciting and so amazing.
Yeah. Other than that, we are connected to the city scene. So we go up to the Saloon, Minneapolis to perform. And that's where we meet other performers that we can potentially bring down here for other shows. A lot of talent in the cities, just not a lot of venues. So we're hoping to like grow a scene down here and then import gals a little bit.
Import when we can.
As well as always support our local girls,
Yeah.
What you mentioned that it's a real it's a real hardship to plan shows. What's the process like?
Well, first of all, a drag show is not something that a lot of venues are familiar with or like the idea of hosting.
Not sure of the success rate, I guess.
Yeah,
kind
because
of.
they're like, that sounds like a sleazy dive bar at 3 a.m.
You really do get two kinds of people. They're like either like really into it right away. They're like, a drag show. Okay.
Yeah.
I would never.
So do I have to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. Will this be part of my regular clientele? And the answer is usually like, yeah.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are really interested. And
Yeah.
at this point now we just have like proof. We're like, well, we did this show and we sold out and this many bottles of wine were sold. And so the proof's in the pudding at this point.
Generally get people in a
That's
dark
awesome.
space with alcohol and loud music, and they're gonna have a good time.
They're gonna have a good
and
time.
then you throw beautiful women in.
Yeah.
And
It's inevitable.
it's inevitable. It's gonna be a great time.
So other than that, it also takes wrangling 6 to 8 divas.
Herding cats.
It's herding cats. Like they all have their own opinions about everything. They all are like, it's just so hard to get a response from people sometimes. And then making sure they send in their music in time. And also you need a DJ for your event. You also need to get all of the posters made. You need to get the social media campaign put together. If you want a successful show, I should say. You don't have to do that, but it doesn't mean anyone will come. You've got, I mean, we have like a photographer half the time and a videographer now. Like there's so many moving pieces and a lot of people don't have the patience or time for that. And I don't blame them. So it is a labor of love, to say the least.
Oh yeah. And also, like, on top of that, it's a complex, there's a lot of moving pieces to the art form in general. So like people have to have, as she said, the tracks and the wigs and costumes, makeup, they have to get there with enough time. We have to have a dressing space. We have to, all of that. And like sometimes we've gone from dressing spaces to either being like an actual dressing room or like literally the corner of a hallway, a lobby, literally. So
I might have put up some trash bags for you.
Yeah. I mean, it was helpful. It kept people from looking in, and that space was better than other places we've dressed in. So
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
yeah.
You know.
What got you into it? What inspired this path and journey?
Honestly, Wyatt was really into drag before Wanda was really into drag. Excuse me, was really into drag before I was, and so she kind of got me into RuPaul's Drag Race. That was one of our first like date shows, as well as with Trixie and Katya. And so after a while, we just both liked drag enough. She had done drag makeup before, but like not like performed in drag.
No, not really.
And so I was like, put drag makeup on me. Put drag makeup on and do it.
It wasn't good. It was really bad.
She was serving. She was serving something.
Serving something.
She was serving last week's fish, is what she was serving.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I felt gorgeous. But after that, I ended up doing drag first for like a school production where I was the fairy godmother for like a Cinderella kind of thing. I borrowed a wig from the Rose Sisters. It was like this massive curly blonde thing. And then I put my eyeliner on it. It was this big at the time, like little bitty eyeliner. And it was like, she's giving.
She's giving.
That's a woman. She's
That's
serving.
the only woman in the
The
world.
only woman in the world. And that's the feeling of drag. Yes. Yes. If you, once it's all on and you just look in the mirror and you're like, oh, that's me. Hi. Hello. But then after that, about a year later, sorry, we had a little mic mishap.
We're going to make it work.
Yeah. About a year later, I started doing drag on my own.
There we go.
Oh, wait, there we go.
Just
This is why you
down
can't-
a
this is
little
what-
bit more.
There you go.
There you
This
go.
is why you can't invite me to be a part of your podcast.
Oh,
She talks
we've
with her
had
hands.
We had some.
Hey.
Oh, careful.
There
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Sorry.
All good. All
And-
good.
We have a diva you're on.
Yeah, and then I wanted to do drag really badly, but I didn't have a car, I didn't have money, and I didn't have time. I was working 2 jobs, I was in college, and I was like, I don't know how I'd get to the cities in the first place because it was the only place to perform. So for a while, it was just her kind of getting into it.
And I had a car at least. I didn't have the other things.
No.
We bought some little cheap drugstore makeup, which is actually really
Drugstore
good.
makeup's fine.
Don't knock it. That's what the foundation is today. But like, yeah, I don't know. Then I started doing drag for about a year, and then during the pandemic,
Yeah.
you were telling me a lot about like how like.
You should really.
Oh my
this
God!
outfit
You
would
should
be
do
so
this for
cute.
drag. You should do this for drag.
This
You should
would
do
be a
this
great
for drag. And I'm
number.
like, girl, maybe you should do this for drag. So
And like I was just sitting at home collecting unemployment, and I was like, well, now I have money. And I also eventually got a car before that, so I was like, you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
she had a drag name picked out
Yes.
and everything.
Oh yeah, I've been sitting on this name for like
Wanda Gag.
5-6 years at this point.
Yes.
Well, tell the people. The
Oh,
people
the
need to know.
Yeah, so Wanda Gog was my like relative many years ago. she's like from the 1920s, but she's this original children's book author from New Ulm, Minnesota. And I love her work. I mean, cats, plants. She's like one of the early feminists, and she was just such an icon in my opinion. Also, major lesbian vibes. Love that. And then my dad would always make this joke of just like, oh yeah, you're related to Wanda Gag. And I'd be like, okay, our last name's Gog, but cool. That is funny. You're right. And that just stuck with me. I was like, that's the perfect drag name. How could I pick anything else? And it stuck. I've been sitting on it forever, and I have it now, and people love it. And like, my name's already Wyatt Gog. So like, or it was, now it's Wyatt Otto. But it was like, it's not much different. And then people can remember it better, and I can remember it better. And here we are.
That's also sort of a pun. You want to gag?
Want to gag.
You want to gag? Well, here she is.
Here she is.
The gaggery of it.
The gaggery.
And then your name, where'd that one come from?
Oh yeah, avocado. Well,
Mankato.
I kicked a bunch of names around because I was just like, do I want like a lady name? Do I want like a pretty lady name? Do I want like whatever it was I wanted it to be a pun? And eventually I was like, I don't know. I suggested a bunch, and every time I suggested one to Wanda, she's like, So eventually I'm like, okay, whatever. It's avocado because it's rhymes with my boy name, and it's dumb, and I like avocados. So there you go. That's all she needs.
What more do you need?
It's like Ava, but I like it because it's a fancier name in that I get to correct people every time they say it. They're like, oh, you're Ava? I'm like, no, I'm Ava. Nice to meet you. Sounds fancier.
Yeah.
My brother had a girlfriend, Cassandra. But she would, and bless her heart, she would correct you. Like, love her for it.
Cassandra.
Slow you down, Cassandra.
That's how you know it's an expensive sounding name. You have no. You have to slow it down. Oh, sorry.
No, not you, Jake.
Oh, whoops.
You guys are doing great.
Okay, cool.
We're podcasting professionals.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, speaking of your own podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drag Me the Spoon. The podcast.
The podcast. Yeah, it's kind of an overlapping brand at this point. Drag Me the Spoon, blank, or honestly, if we just have a pop-up show, it's just Drag Me the Spoon, be there. Yeah.
Branding. Yeah.
So we have our show. It kind of fell to the wayside after things opened up again in spring last year, because it was a really fun pandemic activity where we didn't get to meet a lot of the people in the drag scene in Minneapolis. So as a way to meet them, we would have them on and interview them all about their drag
on Zoom,
just like recording. And we'd be like, all right, yeah, tell us about your drag name, like how you got started, what do you do? And then at the end, we would do what I call my quick tips of drag. And I'd be like, you give me 3 really quick tips that you would tell anyone, things you've learned, things you wish you knew.
whatever you think that like anybody experienced or not should know that you learned in your drag journey.
And so it's just kind of like a sharing of wisdom and a sharing of stories, and it really helped us meet people because we didn't get the opportunity to do it in person. And so we've slowly been picking it back up again because now things are locking down again. Shows are getting canceled. And
there's a lot of cool people we haven't talked to.
There's so many cool people. And actually
yeah.
now we've met them in person. So now we're ready to do it over Zoom and be like even better, because oftentimes we didn't know these people and we'd be like, hi, how are you?
The first few episodes were very stiff, like, hello, yes, welcome. We have Ms. Diagnosis with us. How are you today? This is a girl we've been backstage with, like, thrice at this point.
Yeah.
And,
and so it's gotten a lot better now. And we've also just figured out our own chemistry on the podcast. But yeah. And so we talk about what we're doing. And then we have a segment where we have a guest and we talk to them. And it's super fun. And I like it. I like doing it. I don't know if I do know if people listen, but
she checks the stats often.
I'm a data. I love the data. I love the statistics.
She's like, we'll just be working in the middle of the day, and she's like, somebody in Italy listened to us. I wonder who that is.
Okay, no, one of our episodes has like 20 Italian listeners to it. I was like, why are so many Italians listening to this episode?
One of our, the person that we podcasted that episode with actually has a couple connections in Italy.
Like
somebody
her
in
wig
Italy makes her
stylists are
wigs and stuff. Like,
I was like, okay. Yeah. So anyways, shameless
plug.
brag. Yeah, but yeah, we have our own podcast. We interview people, and
it's a good time.
It's a fun time.
What are any tips that come to mind, drag tips that have been highlights on the show?
Ooh, I think the biggest one is if you're not enjoying what you're doing, the audience isn't enjoying it either. If you are doing songs that you just think the audience is going to like, and you're dressing in these typical outfits that you think are just
And you're
drag
dancing
queen
around,
TM.
doing your 8 counts, like, I don't know, I guess a little kick, little arm flare. Nobody's going to enjoy it because, like, everybody can, like,
we can see you not enjoying it.
not a lot of people know how to perform, like, as themselves, but we can always see a performer on stage and see when they're, like, thinking too much. And we're like, okay, girl, get into, because if you're running, like, dancing around and doing something dumb, but you're confident and you're loving what you're doing, you can tell.
Yeah.
And then the audience is into it. Because, I don't know, we have some pure goofy bitches.
Oh yeah,
up on stage.
I don't do songs that people know or like that much. I do them for me because I think they're funny.
Yeah.
That was my question would be about the performance aspect and like what comes first. Was it for a lot of people? Is it more of a performance thing and then they get into the makeup and the outfits, or because it all seems to go hand in hand? And there is some people who do singing or lip syncing. It seems pretty diverse. What was it for your experiences?
It's different for everybody. But like, because like some people do the makeup thing first and then they get into it. I think we both did the makeup first.
Yeah, no, it's just to like see how you could look in this makeup because it's so fun and so creative to begin with. And then you perform, and especially people that already have a performance background.
Yeah.
It's such a good, well-paying outlet, actually.
I was gonna say like I have a background in vocal music as my degree, and like as a boy performing, I would stand on stage. I might throw in one of these hand movements. That's if I want to get spicy, or like even this, But like in drag, you just or you hold your hands in front of you. They call that the fig leaf. But like in drag, you can just like get into whatever because it's like, okay, there's a crazy clown woman on stage. I don't know how she's gonna move, but however her noodle arms fall, that feels right.
That feels right.
And so it's very freeing. It's very freeing to do drag and being able to perform that way because there's not a lot of expectations.
And decently paying.
And decently paid. But yeah, to answer your question, makeup first and then kind of...
And then performance falls into it because honestly, if you don't look good on stage, it's hard to feel good on stage. Like you can still have kind of, busted makeup, but as long as you feel the fantasy.
It's mostly about, do you feel like you look good? Then you'll do fine.
Because it's like putting on like a mask for people. Like you can't tell who that is. And so you can be a little more free and a little more excited and not care so much.
Yeah.
So I would have to wonder, as a vocal performance major going into it and not being a drag performer at that time, how did drag change your opinions and thoughts about vocal performance and like what you had been taught or told?
I guess the big critique, because we did voice studio and they'd all give us feedback, like other students and teachers and stuff. And like a big critique for me was like, you sound good, but it doesn't really look like you're having fun. And I was not, like, because I was like, all right, remember this right here. Remember to breathe. Remember to hold your. I was thinking technically, but then with drag, like, it helped me let go a lot and just have fun because I'm like, I know I look good. I know I feel good, and it's not just looking good. It's feeling correct about it, Because
Confidence.
I guess I never felt confident in like a little button-up shirt and some khakis. I don't like menswear. It's not very glamorous.
I don't think I could feel confident in a button-up shirt and some khakis. I would avoid that more than anything.
I think my male fashion sense is garbage, honestly. And like I like bright colors, but I think it just translates a lot better to being a clown woman.
I was just say out of drag, we're wearing like black pants and like maybe a maroon sweater. Like it's just so
Basics.
toned down. It's this is the outlet for the craziness.
Yeah, this is the outlet for the crazy. And like, yeah, I don't know. Drag gave me the confidence to perform better, I guess. Is my short answer.
Do you find that the character develops a persona over time too, and whether it's with the performances and the flavor you're giving it, or the preparation and the kind of getting in the headspace? But do you find that there's like an alter ego developing?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you go first.
Oh, absolutely. I really had no idea what my drag was going to be at first. I was trying. I knew comedy for the most part.
You figured it out quick, though.
I did figure it out quick compared to some people, but I did like 1 or 2 numbers where I was just being like this like sexy bimbo, kind of dumb. Like a lot of the numbers would be like I did the song called Fever by Peggy Lee, and it's this like burlesque song. And every time she said Fever, I just like sneezed into like a handkerchief, or like, and then you just got more sick as you're on stage.
She had handkerchiefs around her body.
Yeah, you just pull them out and you just blow on
One
them.
out of the bra. And one out of the panty. You know.
I really like that bit a lot.
Thank you. It's just like every time I would do another performance, people would be like, I really liked that. That was fun. And so it kind of molds what you're going to do, because the feedback you receive, it's like they're like, oh, I get this character. I like this. And you're like, oh, I didn't have a character, but now I like the character that you presented to me. And so it's just kind of molded itself into place. And now I feel very comfortable as this dumb blonde bimbo. So yeah, it's just, there's room for comedy. There's room for beauty. That's all I could want.
Mm-hmm.
What about your character?
And well, I mean, like, I had a lot more of a struggle. So, like, I don't know. I didn't know what my drag character was at first, because like the hair and the outfits were not there at first. I like went to H&M and I like bought like a kind of like rougey dress, and I'm like, this is me. And then I had this nasty wig that I like teased too big, and it was just, I don't know. The early years of Avocado were not great, but like after a while, like I realized I just felt a lot more comfortable being kind of like muted, kind of like your favorite wine aunt, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kind that says, "Darling, darling, you can't go out like that. You look like a slut." Unless you want to look like a slut.
Plus like a little bit of like jazz lounge singer.
Yeah, she's your favorite karaoke aunt, but like gets a little too into it.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see it.
And like I got to piggyback off of her trials and tribulations a little bit. Like I started a year and a half later, so I got to watch her try to figure out hair.
She got to see me have identity crises, and I'm like, I don't know what my drag is.
Yeah, and watched her try to figure out outfits, and I was like, okay, that sucks. Like I've never worn a flat wig in my life. I've only worn beautiful styled
Hashtag
coiffed
fruity
hair.
wigs.
Hashtag fruity wigs. That's her business. She's
Yeah.
a wig stylist.
I make all of our hair,
All
and
of
so which yeah. Sorry, off topic. But yes.
But yeah, the personality develops as you perform more. You find what you like. You find what the audience likes. You find what your peers like. I look for the rest of the drag scene's opinions constantly. I want to know what they think and what they're liking about my drag. I don't care what they hate about my drag, but I care about what they like about it.
Is there a good community for feedback like that?
Ish. So there are some good spaces for it. So Saloon is where we usually perform in the cities. And they have a competition every week called Work, spelled with an E, and Work. And they have this thing where basically like there's 2 rounds. The first round is audience applause to get to the next round. So if you're an audience favorite or you brought some friends, you get to the second round. The second round, to judge who the winner of that night is judged by the 3 show directors. So Slayman the Fox, Azalea, Selena Cruz, and then usually a guest judge. And so in that feedback, they usually give us like written feedback, like, oh, I really liked your song choice, but like, you know, I saw you thinking a little bit here, or maybe like increase your choreography, or I'm not sure that this is the right song for you because you didn't really seem like you liked it. So there's a good space for feedback up in the cities.
But like from
That
peer to
sounds pretty
peer,
specific too.
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah.
to-
But like from peer to peer, it's kind of tough. It's hard to not sound shady when you give people
Right.
feedback unsolicited. So you have to like wait for them to ask for it.
Yep.
And even when you ask for it, it's like, are you ready? And are they actually going to tell you their true feelings? Or are they going to be like, no, I loved it. It was so good. But like they don't mean it. So it's tricky. You have to trust people and they trust you to take it.
Yep.
So
It's roulette. You just got to keep asking people like, so what did you think? And then like find the honest. I don't know if you allow swearing. Is swearing
Oh
fine?
yeah, no, cuss it out.
Find the,
fuck yeah.
Find the bitchiest girl in the club and ask her what she thought.
That's
because
true.
she will tell you the truth.
You will.
And she'll be like, I thought your look was good. I thought your lip sync was shit. Yeah. And it's
Loved your
terrible-
hair.
Love your hair. Hope you win. Terrible song. Like, honestly, and that's the best feedback as long as you can take it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, to each their own. But like, the hardest thing is like a lot of drag people are yes men because they're like, all drag is valid. And that's true. Not all drag is good, though.
No.
So, you know, it's a mixed bag for feedback specifically. But yeah,
Certainly.
got a battery situation.
What?
Not to point to the man behind the mirror, the curtain. Sorry.
Wait for him to get back there.
We're about to have additional disruptions too.
You're good.
Is pizza rolling in? soon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
15 minutes.
It switched. I switched it to you. You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Is what's next for Drag Me with a Spoon then? What do you all see on the horizon?
Oh goodness. Okay. So
Well, very next.
we're very, very, very busy all the time. So up next we've got our digital pageant, which is Mix Heart On because I've got a heart on for you. It's a Valentine's Day themed pageant where it's very camp. It's very humorous. It's basically like a runway category, a talent category or performance, and then a Q&A. And it's just like a really fun, no risk Valentine's pageant.
We liked to make we see a lot of drag pageants and they're very serious, like regular like beauty pageants where they're just like, what would winning this title mean to you? And we like to take that and we like to spoof it a little bit. So like, I don't know, it's just about like being yourself, being your drag personality, and then also just, I don't know, we like even the question portion is speed dating.
Oh yeah, it's not a Q&A, it's speed dating.
Do you remember any questions from last year?
Oh, absolutely. Like, what's your best pickup line? Or
Where would you take us on a date?
who is your celebrity crush?
Who is
and
your
why?
celebrity crush?
Like just silly things like that. And
you
then
could have a date with anybody dead or alive. Who would it be?
yeah.
Yes.
And so
That sounds fun.
yeah, because other pageants, it's like there's the evening gown category, and the rules are evening gowns have to touch the floor, and you must wear an updo because if you have hair touching your shoulder, that's just not
Disqualified.
you're disqualified. It's like
We can't speak for all pageants.
Not all
but
pageants.
This is common.
this is a lot of
Like,
pageants.
Sure.
So I just think it's silly, and I'm like, let's just have a fun pageant. So like the runway last year was hearts, so it's
Yeah.
like bring a look that screams hearts.
Somebody did an anatomically correct heart, which was honestly one of my favorite looks. Like
They're just dressed as a heart.
they made this whole like bodysuit that was just straight up like the muscle. It just they had the what's that the veiny bits. I don't know.
Ventricle.
Ventricles.
Yeah,
they
there you
had the these ones. The
Yeah.
tubey things coming
Oh.
out.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's like the
He gets
exact
it.
kind of drag that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach was telling me when I was discovering drag that there's all kinds of really like interesting ways that people take it, and well, I guess with that,
To
for
speak
it.
more specifically, I was kind of talking about like the darker horror side of drag and people like Katya and people that like really like to turn everything. I really like the absurdity of those things,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like it really makes people think. It's really abrasive. I love all that stuff about it. So I think that's more what he's talking about. And, would you have a like quantification of your type of drag? Would you both be like comedy queens? Probably.
I guess like that's sort of our vibe. I guess
I'm a comedy queen. I'm also very sexy, as you can tell.
Oh,
she's a double threat.
I'm a double threat. I can't dance though, so that's like a -1. So I'm more like a single threat.
Yeah, she's a threat.
I'm a threat. A threat you could stop, but a threat.
threat level medium.
She's a rash that you should probably check out.
But like not a big deal.
But
I wouldn't have said that one. But.
and I like comedy. I'm not very good at comedy when it comes to performance. I'm good at it when I'm talking, but like in terms of like creating a comedic like performance like Wanda does, I'm not great at it. But I do love singing. I'm much more of a camp queen. So like I like the exaggeration of a woman rather than just being I'm a pretty woman.
Me too.
I look exactly like a woman, and that's my drag. I don't know. That's So I like the silliness. I like the campiness.
But some of our best friends are like not usually the traditional pretty queens. It's usually like camp queens, comedy queens, and like ooky spooky queens. As we like to call them. Or they're just like kind of gender fuck or horror or
they are serving gender.
they're serving gender.
Yes. And all that word implies. So like it's,
Yeah. You don't know.
Are they a man? Are they women?
Who
The answer
cares?
is yes and no.
So, yeah, no, there's all sorts of fun types of drag, especially in Minneapolis. It is such an insanely talented and diverse scene, and that makes it so much more competitive. But I just love everyone there. It's so fun.
It is. Yeah.
If someone was interested in discovering the drag scenes that may exist in the area up to the cities probably and then around here, would you be able to like pitch someone here, start here, and then check this out? I mean, I know you have stuff going on here, but would there be something up in the cities you might be able to like plug easily?
Like
Oh yeah, there's an open stage at the saloon
every Thursday.
Every Thursday
at what, 9?
Oh, cool.
Is it 9
8
now?
p.m. Yeah, it's
8
called
p.m.
work. I mean, it's just
Drag shows never start on time.
no. So it'll probably start at
Get
like
there at 8. Get
8:45.
yourself a drink. It'll be starting by the time you get your drink.
Also, the Gay 90s have So You Think You Can Drag, which is also an open stage on Wednesday nights.
They also the casted shows for Saloon are on Friday and Tuesday, I believe.
Well, yeah, but they're
Hot
looking for
Pink.
new people. Like,
Oh yeah. Sorry, the open stages are on Wednesday at the 90s.
Yeah.
At 10.
Yeah. 10
Saloon
p.m.
on Thursdays at
8.
8. Yes.
Otherwise, if you're in Mankato and you want to start drag, hit us up.
Hit us up.
Like, we're here to support and foster this new community that's slowly growing.
We're always looking for new people.
Yeah.
So because the more the merrier. That's the bottom line with
Exactly.
drag.
It doesn't need to be that competitive. It needs to be just fun.
It seems like it's a collaborative effort in some ways too, because you kind of set a lineup and everyone contributes to the overall vibe of the night.
Absolutely.
And more to an extent is better in that way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially because we're doing themed shows now. I mean,
Oh, cool.
so to see everyone in their interpretation of the theme, and if it's not a theme show, I just want to see what people are doing. I want to see what's in their head, what they're thinking, and like what's fun to them to perform. What kind of music do you like? What do you want to share with us? Drag is so diverse right now.
It is.
And I want to see what everyone's thinking of because it's so cool.
It's fun to see like, the pretty sparkly drag. But like there's so many different kinds of drag that like you can't just limit yourself.
No.
You got to
Yeah.
see it all. And so it's the more diverse a show, the better.
Which is what
generally.
we're always trying to do.
Yep.
We're trying to keep it interesting.
I don't know if you've ever been to a show where you've got like 5 dancing divas in a row, but it does get old.
It's exhausting.
It does get old.
You can only
Gotta
hoot and
space 'em
holler
out.
so long.
Woo!
Woo! You just
Yes,
did another
work.
flip.
She did that.
Wow.
So having a range of talent is a good way to
Oh,
Absolutely.
it keeps it so interesting. You never know what you're going to see next.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Generally, like drag queens are otherwise artists or in their own right. I would imagine. When I didn't get to attend the show at the 410, but when I was looking at photos from it and listening to Dana talk about it, I was like, like I knew that drag was like, you just don't normally see that cross between fine art so close there, because I don't think that's how people see it. Like you said, like maybe some bar owners would look at like a 3 a.m. kind of like thing like that. But you put it in that space, and then you can just easily see like the planning and the talent and all those things like that. Like, what kind of artists are you interacting with most normally? Like, apart from the people who are just doing the drag.
Yeah. So just speaking on the people that were at the 410 project, we have Rose Nylon, who has a visual arts degree and just is constantly painting her face in all sorts of different ways and making these elaborate costumes. And she has a lot of
Vision.
of vision and things that she stands for. And through art, she advocates that.
She's a visual artist and she translates it beautifully to drag. And
it's super cool. And she does this like, she has a mustache that she draws on, and she's this very like gender fuck kind of drag. You never know what you're going to see from her. Or like Melancholy also is an artist. She's constantly painting paintings on her face, and she's
she
So
also
cool.
makes outfits. Yes.
yeah, she makes most of her costumes, and she's got such vision, and it's so niche. Or who else? Pistachio is a graphic designer, and so she makes all of our posters, all of our logos, everything. And she just is a walking cartoon character. She's just over the top.
She's goofy.
So like all of these people have different backgrounds, even besides performance, of different arts, where they're just taking what they have and converting it to drag.
No matter what drag queen you approach, or drag king, or drag being, drag thing, they are all artists in a variety of ways.
Absolutely.
They're all like what's jackknife?
Swiss Army knife. of
Swiss
drag.
Army knife. That's the thing. Of artistic talents. They really are.
Yeah, because a lot of people are styling their own hair. They're sewing their own costumes. They're making their own mixes,
Or they're putting together like this whole elaborate like prop piece. Like I think Rose Nylon had a big dimension door looking thing where she had a cloak. That
Oh yeah,
like a
she
giant
did
flower.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and she had this big portal around her head. and so she's just like in the portal, like
It was
lip
like a
syncing.
ring. It was like, honestly, it was a ring of wood that she then like sprayed a bunch of that sealant, that like foam inflatable sealant on, the
Yeah.
stuff that seals walls and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
So she sprayed a bunch of that on and made it look like a giant circular cloud, and then she painted it, and it was.
And near the end, she like comes out of it finally.
She,
and she's
like,
in
pulls
this
it down and,
crazy
like,
costume.
Yeah.
Like these people
Wow.
are doing so much, and so you have to be good at every art form almost to succeed.
Or at the very least, you have to have a vision.
Yeah.
You got to have a vision if you're going to do drag. That's it.
What drew me in right away is when well, not right away, but right away I wasn't really able to get into it right away when my partner showed me it. And what really helped me was like when I realized, like you said, like they're sewing, they're creating a show, they're creating dances, they're doing all of this expansive stuff. And yeah, I really appreciate how it is really just like a medium more than just like a thing. And yeah, I guess that's all. I didn't really have a question from that, but I really appreciate how like drag as a medium. I didn't before I started consuming it. I put it in a box that it very much isn't in, and it can be anything, like you said, comedy, horror. The first time I saw a drag queen like with blood dripping out of their mouth and like thorns all over, it was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that still put it in that box until we gave them the opportunity. These very artsy performers really didn't have somewhere to showcase, like, I am a living art piece right now, and this is my artist statement, and this is my message.
This was my interpretation. I think, okay, yeah. What was a good example? Like Rose Nylund did.
Rose Nylund, she dressed up as like a sexy wrestler with this giant like boa of tissue covered in blood. And basically it was a statement
And there's
on,
a cross behind her of little dots, and the dots are all her actual blood.
like in the red cross symbol.
Yeah.
And it's basically a statement of how gay people are not allowed to donate blood unless they're celibate for 4 months. And then she was dressed as a wrestler because in wrestling there's like a
Bleeding time.
A bleeding time.
So you're allowed to bleed in wrestling for as long as you bleed for like 5 minutes, I
I
think.
believe it was 5 minutes, and if it stops before then, you can keep wrestling. But if it keeps going, you have to stop. And so she kind of compared the two, and it was just a gorgeous statement. Or Pistachio Cream Pie was dressed up as kind of this evil villain with a bear trap on her
down there.
About how
She had a ring for a wig, and it like was a target. She had an eye patch. She had a gun hand. It was like,
and what was the statement about it?
it was about the weaponization of women's body parts. So, or specifically queer body parts. So, like there was this case. I don't remember the court
There's been
case.
lots of cases where you can claim queer panic.
You can, basically gay panic. That's what it was called, her piece. And it was like, oh, I attacked because I felt threatened. I defended myself. And
because
so
this person,
was threatening to me because, and you could say any number of reasons.
yeah.
And so like, yeah, she made like various weapon parts of her bodies of like, any of these parts could be interpreted as threatening. So that was kind of her perspective.
And so, like, it was such a cool show, and like, there is such an art scene in drag. There's just not enough places to showcase that, and so
Yeah. Because you want to get to the second round in these open stages, so you need the audience applause. You need something that appeals to a wide audience. So this is a space to do something else.
I heard Zach's mention of it, and yeah, well, that seemed to make sense to me. Like I hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about it, honestly, and I've only seen a couple of things, but then, yeah, recognizing that the pool of water was deep, and that if it was something that interested me, I could really kind of like find a niche and explore. That's cool. There's a lot going on there, and seeing the artists' interpretations and how they present is really cool too. I guess I think of other, I don't want to say similar, but other styles of medium that are similar might be like theater, and that you'd have to be cast in a role, and like it would have to be within the constraints of the role, and you wouldn't have your own ability to decide. So drag is really like I'm going to show up, and this is what it's going to be like.
I can tell you probably 60% of drag performers have a degree in theater because they did not get cast in anything. They do not fit the parts that they are made for, and they don't want to do the parts that they're made for. It's just everyone's got a theater background because they love to perform and they never got an opportunity. So I definitely agree. Theater is the
theater,
closest comparison.
speech, music, things where generally you get cast as a certain thing and you don't have a lot of room outside of that. And so drag's just a great place to explore whatever you want to do on a stage.
Or it's not as well paying. We have a friend, Luna Muse. She got her degree here in the fine arts theater, and she was making almost nothing cast in theater shows, like actual high quality productions, but she could make how much she was getting paid a month in one show of drag.
Oh wow.
yeah, we blab a lot in drag.
If you let us,
so
we'll
it's
just
never
keep talking.
No, well,
We love that.
All right, cool.
I'd be curious even to chat about maybe podcasting a little bit.
yeah, I mean, we talked about your podcast, but we didn't talk about like podcasting itself or any of like the mass media stuff or like actually how this works.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously like everyone in the room is doing it.
Yeah.
Like, we all do public events, but like like what is your process of like actually making this shit happen?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I was going to say, that's like the hardest part. It's
Yeah,
just getting people together.
I mean, you said wrangling cats, and we know.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, there's a few people we've tried to podcast with, and after like 2 or 3 times, I just gave up. I was like, no, this isn't worth it.
Well, because they're like in the club, we'll walk up to them like, hey, do you still want to podcast? And they're like, oh, yeah, Diva. I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
They all sound like that. I don't know why.
That's how drag queens sound.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
And then we'd hit them up. Red.
Red.
And we're like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
I guess you won't be on the podcast. So.
When it comes to casting shows, though, people take that much more seriously. There's a lot of etiquette.
Mostly because they get paid.
They get paid.
We always pay.
And if you piss off a casting director, you will never get booked by them again.
Yep.
Or at least not for like 3 years. And then maybe they'll give you another chance.
You got to crawl for it.
But when it comes to organizing that, I mean, I just kind of lay out a plan of attack. It's kind of like a who, what, when, where, why. I'm like, this is who we are booking. This is when. This is where. This is the theme of like why. And I just kind of I don't know. I can do it all in like an hour. I'm like, all right.
You mentioned that you liked how it connected you with the community or helped you like talk with other people going through some similar stuff. I guess I don't even know if I have a question, but we've appreciated podcasting for a similar reason. Like it's really nice to have an excuse to talk to other people who are trying to make stuff happen and connect with them. And it feels like developing a I don't know if it's like a network or a shared experience. Even just the focused conversation is something that we don't get a lot of outside of like a podcast these days. Listening to having a focused conversation
On
really.
one thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And drag is very professional at times. I mean, we go to shows to network. I don't perform to win half the time, but we go up to this open stage to meet people.
Haven't won yet.
But that's because I didn't want to win. I'm here to network. That's
trying.
why I wasn't trying.
Make people laugh.
But no, I mean, that's also why we do it. Is there's so much information about drag that is just kind of insider knowledge. There's things we just tell each other one-on-one, but it's not shared to the masses. So if anyone wants to start, they have to learn from square one. They got to learn the hard way half the time of like, oh, I didn't send in my music in time because no one told me.
Well, and all artists have insight, and it's just like you want to be a fly on the wall for all those conversations.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why podcasting, and then just sharing all that information openly, especially the drag tips on our end,
And giving everyone an opportunity to show themselves off. Like, I can only learn so much about you from an Instagram picture.
or even one performance,
Or even just one
yeah.
performance. So let's get to know you more.
Even hanging out backstage is a totally different energy.
Oh,
100%.
I love
Yeah.
being backstage. It is my favorite. It's so fun.
It's wild.
Yeah, you never know what people are going to do, what they're going to say. We're all just goofing around, having a good time.
Somebody will show up like 15 minutes a little late, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, hi girl," and I'm like standing over there with my pants down because I was about to put on my tights, and I'm just like, "Oh hey girl," and then we hug, pants still down.
It's such a
Whatever.
weird energy. It's like theater energy on steroids. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like big theater energy.
Big theater energy. Yeah. No, it's just such a fun community. I think there's maybe 100 performers total in the cities. And that's like 50 of them are like regular. Like the other half are like,
And then about
when I'm
10 of
feeling
them
crazy.
are like well known.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's fun just getting to hang out, do your thing, make some money, and go home.
Yeah.
And then you get to take it off. That's my favorite part. I can go places and no one knows who I am. Unless I've met them like out of drag. But otherwise, You get to be a celebrity for a moment. It's very Hannah Montana, you know? You literally take the wig off. No one knows who you are.
Both worlds.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well,
I guess I would maybe have another question about how you were talking about like how you see someone's drag, and you can't tell from one performance or even an Instagram picture or anything like exactly who they are. What do you look for when you're trying to figure out who you're dealing with, and like how do you like what are the components of the thing as a performer looking at the performance instead of just a consumer?
I definitely want to know, like, why are you doing drag? I think that's one of the number one reasons. There are people that are looking to fulfill gender expression if they're trans, and they're really looking to figure out what that feels like and finally feel that validation and that
Or
gratification.
non-binary,
Or
yeah.
even non-binary performers. They get to just, I can't speak for them, but I can only imagine how that must feel. Or people are doing it as a place to do their art or to perform what they've been wanting to perform. Like I want to know why you do drag. I want to know what your inspirations are, like what inspires your outfits and your hair and your makeup. I want to know just who you are as a person too, because that person I have to deal with a lot. I have to deal with everyone in the drag scene a lot.
You can always tell who's going to be a good professional relationship based on if they are confident or cocky.
Yeah.
Because there are the people that are like, yeah, I'm going to do this number. I think it's fun. I like it a lot. Or there's the people that are like, oh, I sent in this song. It's going to be great.
Everyone's going to love it.
Everyone's going to love it. And yeah, I'm just going to serve, Like
They walk into the club. Oh, mama girl, I am looking pussy tonight. I am just feeling the femme fantasy. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
disclaimer:
oh,
drag queens really do talk like that.
they really do. Talk like, like you could just tell it's drag mouth, as we call it, where they're just using every phrase in the book.
Where like you can tell they watched RuPaul's Drag Race a little too much.
Yeah. And tonight I am serving you
Yes,
pussy.
go on, mama, honey,
Yes,
darling.
God. Okay, death drop.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just like, oh my goodness.
And everybody has that face as a drag queen, but
Not
if
me.
you never grow out of it, no.
No.
I don't want to hear it.
I'm perfect in every way.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, so.
But yeah, more than anything,
Why do you do drag? Are you confident or
Are you a nice
cocky?
person?
Are you a nice person?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the big one.
That's a
Are
big
you a
one.
good professional relationship?
You can be bad at drag, but as long as you're nice to me, I love it. I love what you're doing. Good job.
I can say is even in baby drag that it's like there's a weird feeling. It's like I feel like I could get away with shit.
Oh yeah. And
I
you
think
can.
today I'm going to cause problems on
Like,
purpose.
yeah, exactly. I feel like I could like flirt my way out of a ticket or something.
Absolutely.
what officer?
She's almost got one titty out right now. She's like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
sorry.
Yep.
No, the confidence is intoxicating.
It is. It truly
yeah,
is.
I felt it close to immediately.
Yeah.
And you touched on it briefly, like on gender. How does like the drag community look at like how social norms are coming around about like drag being more widely accepted and people having a better understanding of gender? Do people who are involved in drag help push that forward? I mean, it is a little bit confusing to just, your
100%.
average bystander who's like, oh, is that a man in a dress?
Right.
Like, is that invalidating for a trans person? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard. Like, what do people in the community like see and feel?
Hot topic, but
that is a really good question because like we said, some people do it to like live out their gender expression when they don't actually feel like they can. Like we have known some queens that actually like did drag and then they're like, oh, I'm just a woman. And then they discovered themselves and then they're like, I kind of don't need drag anymore. I didn't want that. I like, but on the other hand, there are people that like, Am I explaining this right?
I'm stop you. You have a stink bug in your wig.
Oh, is she serving?
Oh no!
He's been hanging out all the time. Yeah, but not in your wig. Not your wig, but she's been over here. Oh wait, never mind. I have a second one over here hanging out with me.
Oh, please welcome to the stage. Is she out?
Yeah.
Oh, goodbye.
I flicked her.
Please welcome to the stage.
This one's more petite than the one I
She's
had.
just a little fleck in the avocado in the guacamole. I don't know.
But a new fun thing that's
you know.
a new fun thing that's happening in drag though is the more wide acceptance of everyone being allowed to do drag for the most part. Trans people have been able to do drag for a long time. AFAB performers, which is assigned female at birth, so just cisgender women or transgender men.
The final point of drag is that it's fun.
It's fun,
You
and now
dress-
we have straight performers doing it.
We do. There's actually a straight performer on this season of RuPaul's Drag Race, Maddie Morphosis.
So she's a straight cisgender man, but she loves drag.
Yeah, she just loves drag. She's just like, at the end of the day, I'm doing this because I love it, and it's a performance art, and it makes me feel good. And
Or-
that's
Even in Minneapolis,
How
we
did
have
the
one.
folks feel about that though?
It's been all over the place.
there's some controversy, but generally the whole thing is that drag really is for everybody.
As long as you're respectful.
It's about performing more than anything.
Is
So-
there? Well, I assume that there are like gatekeepers or people who try to be.
Yeah.
So is it a matter of like deciding who you want your gatekeeper to be, or like?
I mean,
or-
yeah, they're like, everybody's gonna have their opinions, especially in the drag scene, and they will let you know.
Does seem like a loud community.
Yeah.
And our general opinion is that drag is for everybody.
As long as you're respectful, you're kind, you know what you're doing,
Yeah,
why not?
absolutely.
And we can cut this out if this will get you in
Oh, no,
any
go for it.
trouble.
No.
But didn't RuPaul get in a little bit of trouble for like a little bit of some non-inclusionary actions?
Oh, she's been anti-trans for a while.
Well, she's come around.
Come around.
That was a whole thing. There was like a time where she was just like, it's like performance enhancing drugs.
It's not
And
fair.
It's not fair. And I'm like,
Drag isn't about impersonating women anymore.
it isn't. It's not like, dressing up like Liza Minnelli and looking like Liza Minnelli and then serving Liza Minnelli all night. Like, that is like a brand of drag that was like kind of the supreme, that's what people called drag back in like the day. But
It's not all about realism anymore.
Yeah.
it isn't. It's about serving whatever, as
you
long as
think
you're being a glam whatever.
Do you think that's partially due to like how accepting people are of like men dressing in women's clothes just anyway, or like more effeminate styles in like male fashion in general?
I think the inverse is true. I think honestly, drag has informed style as in modernity right now, just because drag has become so popular. And now we're just like, for a while, I mean, girls were doing drag queen makeup for quite a while. Like,
Yeah. We're kind of imitating it for a bit there.
The makeup gurus were doing cut creases about this tall, and like they were doing giant eyebrows, like really wild colors.
Yeah.
People were wearing wigs. Like, it's been a whole phenomenon. And so I think in that sense, drag coming to the forefront has helped people feel a little bit more comfortable and whatever about gender.
Yeah.
So yeah, because it is whatever. Gender's whatever you make of it.
I've been noticing a style preference of mine that I don't think is necessarily influenced by drag, but it might be a little bit, which is just that like I appreciate someone who's trying something genuinely different, or like you could tell that they piece together a little bit of whatever their thing is. And so I'm sure I see drag as being like the epitome of that maybe, but then people kind of are taking it into their own life too. And I'm the opposite of that. I kind of just wear black or white, but it's cool. I'm into it.
It's certainly like a reclamation of, maybe not reclamation, just like finding your thing and
A
just being proud of it.
celebration.
A celebration.
Of style and your own
Individuality.
perspective. And you know what? I think that's a fair point. Is just like you see somebody doing something kind of funky in their everyday fashion, and you're like, I'm into that.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah. I think that's also a form of drag. Honestly, is a persona you're putting on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the big
All
thing.
born naked and the rest is drag.
Yeah, it's just,
Cool.
Were you gonna say?
No, you're good.
I heard it. I want to like kind of like wrap up and get into plugs here pretty quick. But also earlier, you make wigs.
Yeah.
So Tell me about that for a couple minutes. And like, is it a business or do you just make your own wigs, or what's going on with the wigs?
Yeah, so like it's a business, sort of. I haven't like I'm a subsidiary of Drag Me with a Spoon.
We're an LLC.
We're an LLC.
Ooh, nice.
So basically, yeah, I style wigs for drag queens. I don't like make the wigs track by track. I do know girls that do that, but I order wigs offline and then I style them into what you see here. So that's a lot of and here and there and there and there. In the background. Yeah. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I learned honestly on YouTube how to do it from one of the Drag Race girls, James Mansfield. She's got some great videos out there if anybody's trying to learn. Or I also have my own videos on my TikTok. And
there's a lot of things to plug.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, plugs later. But like, yeah, so I sell hair to drag queens because in the cities there used to be
just one stylist.
there was like one stylist that was really big for drag queens, Casa Glam, and she put hair on Rue girls and stuff. And eventually she got big enough that she moved.
We went to Florida.
So, see a need, fill a need. And here we are.
See a hole, fill a hole. Melania Trump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But
so
yeah.
you're doing that full time now.
Yep. And so I order a bunch of wholesale wigs. They give me a whole catalog and stuff. And I just I'm like, I want that one because that's a weird color. I want like 3 of these because that's like a normal color.
Like 5 blondes.
5 blondes, like 5 red, like 5 browns, 5 blacks. And then I like to get the weird colors, like your teals, like your oranges. There's a couple tricolors happening right now that I'm very excited to style. I've got like a purple to orange to red ombre. It's like a sunset jacket and make it giant.
Yeah.
Just gonna be it's gonna be atrocious. I love it. My favorite kind of drag is just gaudy.
I love the word atrocious. It's
Yeah,
one of my
It's such
favorite
a good
words.
word.
I appreciated your use of it. That was good.
It's got an exquisite mouthfeel. Yeah, as a word. You know.
All right, let's get into it. How do people find it? How do people find you? How do people find your events? How do they find your individual things? How do they find your business? Every single thing.
All right, we're going to start Instagram personal things. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at WandaGag. Super simple. Also TikTok. I don't do a ton of TikToks, but you can find me there if you want.
You can find me on Instagram. It's a little tricky. It's Miss Avocado, and that's that's spelled that way. So ITSMISSAVACADO. I don't know. The avocado was already taken by a sultry avocado saleswoman in Mexico, and you can find me on that handle. Yeah, you can find me on that handle on Instagram, Twitter, and then I have a TikTok which I post wigs tutorials on, which is it's avocado, like the.
It's
It's
avocado.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Like the vine.
Yeah.
And
Ancient sins.
And then Drag Me with a Spoon. We are on Facebook and Instagram currently, and you can find us there. We also have our website, Drag Me with a Spoon. We have our podcast on Spotify. I mean, everywhere fine podcasts are found, basically.
If you type in "drag me with a spoon" into Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, you're gonna find us.
Yeah, you'll find us pretty easily. And then Fruity Wigs is your wig company.
Fruity Wigs is my wig company because it's made by a fruity lady, and it's at Fruity Wigs on Instagram, and that's all I got right now. But
Yeah.
if you want a wig styled such as these, then
Or think about getting
hit me
into the
up.
wedding industry. Could you imagine, like at a wedding, you don't want to get your hair done, so
You don't have to sit there for 3
you
hours.
just rent a wig, maybe? I don't know.
You want some
I'd do
cute
that.
victory rolls? I already have that. Just plop it
Could
on
see
your
it.
head.
Yeah. And then as soon as the wedding's over, you just take it off. That sounds amazing.
Let your real hair down.
Or
whatever.
bachelorette parties.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, I guess I would say thanks for coming on. Thanks
Oh,
for
my
putting
God.
me in
Thanks for
drag.
having us.
What a
Yeah.
fun time.
yeah, thank you. This was really
I know you
fun.
two could have been put in drag, but I know you didn't want to. So
Yeah, we
Yeah,
we said it's
I
for
couldn't-
Zach.
just real like salty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I-
just
Dudes we have an
being
image to maintain.
And guys being guys.
Yeah. Ultra masculine over
Absolute.
here.
yeah.
I can't believe you wore your natural hair for this. I have such wigs for you.
Yeah, I got out the blow dryer.
Oh, yeah.
But that's
it's
about
as
it.
much as I can do. you
Okay.
know?
Got to be a little.
Respect the drip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've wanted to do drag for probably 5 or 6 years now. So thanks.
Nice.
Can
Not,
we
not that I did today, but
can we pose a final question?
yes.
What would your drag names be?
Oh.
I I think going over this, I've landed on 2, and the audience can decide. It's either Victoria Treble or fuck.
That
It's
could work.
It's pretty good.
How iconic.
no, it's God, fuck was pretty good too. No, it was
Just fuck.
I don't think that's taken.
pretty good. Oh no, it was propaganda.
Propaganda. Get a little closer. Let me take a propaganda at that face.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I like that.
You just sold it, I think.
Propaganda.
Well, so far, Wilma was one of my options.
Straight up.
Wilma.
Straight up Wilma. Was there a follow up to the Wilma?
There's a lot of follow-ups you could do with Wilma. Will my husband ever come home from the war? Will my ass get me further?
Wilma. Yeah, will my husband ever? Well, I feel
Yeah,
like
you can
that's
just
a
change it
little
depending
long.
on the day.
You really could.
Will my ass fit?
Will my ass get any fatter?
Or thick Wilma was my other.
that was it.
I love Wilma Asfit. Wilma Asfit is so good.
So good.
Okay, I just got that. Yes, never mind. Yes, a second Wilma Asfit or thick Wilma is also great.
All right, Zach, what's it going to be?
Oh gosh. Well, my nickname if I was in a dirtier like back alley drag, I think I would go with like my nickname is Grum, and then the girl version of that is Grumbelina, but that's a different type of drag completely. But if for this, I have no idea.
Honestly, Grumbelina's great. Why not just go with that?
Good.
I like
Okay, then I'm
that.
Grumbelina.
You could be
Grumbelina.
glam and be named Grumbelina.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Then
It's-
we'll take it.
It's glam with a mustache. I love it. Yes, branding. That's it.
Yeah, this was fun.
All right. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks so much for coming on. We have toppers.
Hell yeah. Sounds great.
So
All right, time to eat.
Topper? I
Cheers.
hardly know her.
You better stop.
And I'll drink to that.